Hello everyone. Today I'm going to read a story that's been going viral on social media. It's about an IIT graduate who turned down a generous offer from a high-tech company so that he could take care of his parents. Now I'm going to read the story. My name is Vivek Sharma. I'm 32 years old. Whenever people ask me what I do, I simply say I run a grocery store. They often smile and sometimes even laugh because they know something else about me. I was a gold medalist in computer science from IIT Bombay. And yes, I still have an offer letter tucked away in my cupboard from a San Francisco based company offering $240,000 a year. I never tore that letter, but I never used it either. The beginning. This story begins in 1998 in Kidwai Nagar, Kanpur. We lived in a small two-room house with a tin roof. My father worked as a railway clerk, earning 8,000 a month. My mother gave tuitions, adding another 2,000. We weren't even middle class. We were lower middle class. But my father had a dream, not forced, not imposed. He would simply say, "Son, study as much as you want. Don't worry about money." And I studied 95% in class 10, 97% in class 12. The coaching fee was rupees 1 lakh. My father withdrew his provident fund. My mother sold her bangles. I went to Kota. 2 years of relentless struggle, heat, mosquitoes, long nights, and then came the result. Air 147, IIT Bombay, Computer Science. That day, my father distributed sweets across the neighborhood. My mother cried and said, "Now my son will go to America." The rise. At IIT, I thrived. Coding, hackathons, internships, everything clicked. In my third year, I became a Google summer intern. With my first stipend, I bought my mother a washing machine. I called my father. He said, "Now I can rest after retirement." The dream offer, final year placements. After intense preparation, I cracked an interview with a San Francisco based startup. 4 rounds later, the CTO said, "We want you." The offer, $240,000, H1B visa, relocation. I was ecstatic. Friends celebrated. My mother said, "Get your passport ready." My father quietly said, "This is big, son." My joining was scheduled for August 2016. The turning point. I came home during Holi in March. My father looked weak, persistent cough. I insisted on a checkup. He brushed it off. In April, I got a call. "Your father has been hospitalized. Lung infection, heart complications, angioplasty needed. Cost rupees 3 lakh." Insurance only covered half. I used my internship savings, rupees 2 lakh. The surgery was successful. I returned to Mumbai. Then in May, another call. My mother felt dizzy. Diagnosis, breast cancer stage 2. 6 chemotherapy cycles, surgery. Total cost around rupees 5 lakh. My father had retired, pension 12,000. Savings were gone. The choice. June 2016. In one hand, my offer letter. In the other, hospital bills. Visa interview on July 15. Flight on August 10th. My mother's chemotherapy had already begun. I asked my father about taking a loan. He said, "We'll have to mortgage the house." Then he refused. "This house is your mother's pride." That night, I sat on the terrace watching planes fly overhead. One of them could take me to my dream life. The other path kept me here with my parents in pain. I emailed my company asking to defer joining. Reply: "We need someone now. No remote option, no delay." The decision. On July 14th, the day before my visa interview, my father returned from the pharmacy and couldn't even bend down to pick up a dropped slip. In that moment, everything became clear. If I left, who'd take them to the hospital? Who'd manage medicines? Who would sit beside them at night? I cancelled the visa interview. I wrote back, due to a family medical emergency, I won't be able to join. Friends call me crazy. You're leaving a 1.6 crore job. Maybe I was. I stayed in Kanpur, got a local job, rupees 35,000 a month. Office during the day, hospital in the evening. I watched my mother lose her hair. I bought her a wig. I ensured my father took his medicines on time. 2 years passed like this. By 2018, my mother recovered. Cancer went into remission. My father stabilized. But financially, we were drained. Then my company shut down. I received an offer from Bengaluru, 18 lakh. I refused. Instead, I opened a small shop under our house, Sharma General Store. Yes, the IIT graduate was now selling rice and lentils. The first day was difficult. Then a familiar auntie walked in and said, your mother taught my child. We will always support you. So slowly, the shop grew. Mornings at the wholesale market, days at the shop, nights doing freelance coding. In 2019, my mother was declared cancer free. I went to the temple that day. In 2020, during lockdown, my shop thrived. We started home delivery, earned 2 lakh, repaid loans. In 2021, I started teaching coding to kids, rupees 500 a month. In 2022, one of my students won a national Olympiad. The story went viral. Student mentored by IIT in Grocer wins national award. That same week, I received an email from the same CTO. They were opening in India. He wrote, would you like to lead an education initiative, remote, part time? I said yes. Now my life looks like this: morning, grocery shop; afternoon, teaching kids; evening, working with a global tech team. Last month, my father turned 68. At his birthday, he said, my son didn't go to America. He stayed with me when I needed him the most. My mother once asked me, why do you still keep that offer letter? I smiled and said, to remember what I didn't leave behind. I chose. Do I regret it? I used to. When friends posted pictures from the US, when they built big careers, but not anymore. Because I didn't sacrifice my career, I redefined it. My career is no longer just about code, it's about care. I may have left America, but I gained something priceless. I serve tea to my father every morning. I sit beside my mother and ease her pain. And trust me, that is not something you can buy for $240,000. If given a chance again, I would choose the same path. Because some sacrifices are not losses, they are investments in love. And today, when a child asks me, Bhaiya, why are you running our shop after IIT? I smile and say, because my parents are my biggest company and I am the full time CEO.
Um, Very few stories in recent times have touched my conscience, my soul, my whole inner life as deeply and powerfully as this real life story, which is still being played out in our midst, has. We have days set apart for mothers and fathers, Mother's Day, Father's Day, but these have become meaningless gestures. The real expression of commitment to parents can be found in an example like this. There are some highlights in this story. There are several highlights in the story, but paucity of time wouldn't let me deal with all of them. But let me identify a few of those real highlights. One is this young man sitting on the terrace of a very lowly house, a two-bedroom house, with planes flying overhead. One of them perhaps would have carried him to San Francisco to join the very attractive job prospect of being employed on an annual salary of $240,000, which is about uh, 20,000 dollars a month, which is by Indian standards quite a bonanza. And on the other hand, this young man is aware of his parents down below who need his help. And that's the moment when he takes the most important decision in life. He would not go to America. He would stay back and take care of his parents, which in a short while thereafter would make his father say with some degree of pride, "My son did not go to America. He stayed back to take care of me." Another very touching moment for me is when Vivek tells us that I sit with my mother and ease her pain. And certainly the highlight for me is when he says, "I did not sacrifice my career, I redefined it." There are people who think that sacrifices are losses. Not so, Vivek. He says sacrifices are not losses. They're investments made in life. I felt like standing up and saluting this young man. From where did he get this wisdom? Particularly at a time when, for all practical purposes, the materialistic culture has swarmed us and people are running helter-skelter for money, forgetting the very roots of life. Here's a young man who can resist the temptation to go the way of materialistic achievements, and through his costly decisions and choices affirm there is something far more fundamental than all the gains of the world, and that is relationships and the sense of responsibility that we have for each other. But above all, what I want to highlight from this story is the fact that this young man also has the creative intelligence, not merely to make a humane decision that upholds our fundamental values of caring, particularly caring for parents, caring for dear ones, for whom we must hold ourselves responsible, but also to apply himself and to work hard, to make the chosen situation, which seems on the face of it very disappointing. In fact, so disappointing that his friends call him crazy. But he redeems his decision through hard work, through initiative, through the willingness to start something on his own, to impart his knowledge to young people. And as a result, not surprisingly, one of them wins a national award, which is the reason why today we actually talk about Vivek Sharma. So, in one sense, this is also a story about resisting peer pressure. Had Vivek gone under the influence of peer pressure, his parents would have suffered lonely, abandoned deaths. Because he had the character and the courage to stand up against it and go by his conscience, Vivek became the linchpin around which the family situation, comprising two parents who were ailing from serious diseases, stabilized. And together they created a wonderfully rich and positive family situation. I think this is an achievement far greater than what Vivek could have achieved had he gone to San Francisco to join the startup there. So here is a story with multiple humane nuances, and I commend this to all of you. And I want to acknowledge my YouTube friend who has brought this story to my notice. Otherwise, I would have missed it and I would have been the poorer for it. And stories like this need to be recounted again and again and again, because the mainstream media is full of negative things. Wonderful things are still happening in our midst. The grass is still green. The sun still rises in the east. Life continues to be still beautiful. Let's celebrate what is good and beautiful about life and not sit and cry or feel cynical about life because certain things are going wrong. No matter how wrong things seem to go, the very foundation of life will never be shaken because I believe that foundation is laid by God, and that foundation is and forever will be good, and therefore we have something to build on. And that's perhaps what encouraged Vivek Sharma to take this most heroic and humane decision. And let's celebrate this young man. And even as we do so, let's also resolve that we would, when faced with similar situations, take decisions that are like the decisions taken by this brilliant young IITian who is our hero for the day. Thank you. All the very best. Jai Hind.